Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today. A black female TikTok activist allegedly tore down Greek flags outside of a Montclair, New Jersey Greek restaurant, believing that they were the Israeli flag.
Now to an act of vandalism caught on camera in New Jersey. Police looking for the woman they say ripped down flags at a restaurant in Montclair because she thought they were Israeli flags. Turns out it was the Greek flag. News 4's Pat Battle has the message from the restaurant owner in Montclair.
This is the Greek flag. Note the cross in the top left corner. And this is the Israeli flag featuring the Star of David. All they have in common is the blue and white coloring. But apparently this woman didn't know that when back in March she took this video of herself tearing down the decorative Greek flags outside this Montclair restaurant, all the while declaring support for Palestine.
Free Palestine. What you looking at? You know damn well there's a genocide.
Several minutes into her rampage, an employee tells her that the flags outside Effie's Gyros represent the owner's native Greece.
It's nothing against people who are Jewish, but this is not okay.
This is Greeky.
What? Really?
Greeky.
Oh, I thought it was Israel. My bad.
To destroy anybody's property, it's a bit disrespectful, and what I want is for Effie's Gyro to stand as a pillar in the community, to welcome people of all races, religions, ethnicities.
She did notify police when the incident happened, but didn't file charges. Now, 7 months later, the video has surfaced online and gone viral.
And that someone would post themselves being ignorant and uninformed on the most basic level. She could have deleted that video instead of sharing like, oh, I fought for genocide or I fought for my beliefs. She still posted it even though she was like, my bad.
Effie hasn't put the flags back up yet.
In fear that it would happen again due to misinformation going around and circulating.
Montclair police tell us they too have seen the video, and now that they've gotten a good look at the suspect and a TikTok handle, the investigation's picking up steam, though it remains to be seen if she'll be charged with a hate or a bias crime. In Montclair, Pat Battle, News 4 New York.
Now, in this alleged incident that took place outside of Effie's Gyro in Montclair, New Jersey in March, a black woman stormed up to the restaurant and began tearing down decorative Greek flags in a protest of the Israel-Hamas conflict that is currently going on. And as she presented her pro-Palestinian protest in front of this Greek restaurant, she went on a rant until owners of the restaurant came out to confront her and let her know that this was the Greek flag. Now, after this woman was told that this was the Greek flag, and she wound up walking away from the restaurant owners basically thought that this woman had basically been educated as related to her ignorance. However, a few months later, this woman then decided to post a video on TikTok of her participating in this act of anti-Semitic vandalism where she tore down these flags and is now currently under investigation by the Montclair Police Department. Now, the Montclair Police Department see this as an isolated incident by an individual who says they're an activist, but when I take a critical examination of the alleged behavior of this black woman, it definitely fits the pattern and profile for feminist indoctrinated women that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis, and also proves a point that I made in previous videos about the difference between ignorant, dumb, and stupid. And what's happening here with this woman basically shows the complete failure of our educational system, because any child who's taken geography or global studies would clearly know the difference between a Greek flag and the flag of Israel, because while both have similar colors, the patterns of those flags are completely different, And with the patterns of those flags being completely different, a person can easily identify the difference between a Greek or an Israeli flag. However, it seems like our educational system has basically failed this black woman who was so caught up in her feelings about the conflict between Israel and Hamas and her pro-Palestinian leanings that she just went out here and went on emotion to go out and look to tear down these Greek flags in an act of anti-Semitism as related to her pro-Palestinian protest. Now, this pro-Palestinian protest could have been seen as somebody doing something ignorant. However, this woman basically escalated her behavior by showing that she really didn't learn anything from her so-called protest. And as she showed that she didn't learn anything from her so-called protest, this is where she wound up possibly escalating her behavior into a hate crime by going and posting this video several months later on the social media website TikTok, where she's shown participating in this act that not only shows her ignorance as related to participating in this act of anti-Semitism that she's participating in by looking to tear down these Greek flags, but also shows how she escalates her behavior into complete stupidity and complete bigotry by going out here and basically broadcasting this video on social media for everyone to see her participating in this act of hate. And as people see her in this video participating in this act of hate, what this woman is doing is she's thinking she's making a protest. However, this is not a protest at all. No, this act of vandalism basically is a hate crime in and of itself, because what she's looking to do is again go to this business and look to antagonize the owners of this Greek restaurant, believing that this is a business that's run by people who are Jewish from Israel, and that's what makes this act an act of anti-Semitism. And further, she escalates this crime because she goes on the social media and basically broadcasts evidence of herself committing this crime, and that's where her behavior escalates into what I believe to be stupidity, because this woman already again was corrected of her ignorance by the owners of that restaurant, but months later she already knows what she's doing in the video is wrong, but still goes to upload this video onto TikTok and upload this video onto TikTok showing her participating in this criminal act. And basically, as she's doing this on the internet, she's not only putting herself in a place where she could possibly be charged for a hate crime, but she's also putting herself as related to federal crimes, again, doing this on the internet. So she's basically putting herself on the road to possibly winding up being charged with not only a state hate crime, but also being charged with a federal one as well for putting this kind of content on the internet. And that just shows what happens when somebody who is basically caught up in their feelings doesn't really think about the consequences of their actions. And that's what this so-called activist is doing. She's not really thinking critically about the consequences of her actions. No, she's so caught up in her feelings about a political cause that she's not really thinking about how to go out here and make a proper protest, because the way to make a proper protest is similar to what people in the civil rights movement of the 1960s did with civil disobedience. And again, the civil disobedience, basically people were doing this as related to things to get attention, but they understood there was consequences to it. But this woman really doesn't understand this, because her activism really isn't activism. No, it's just an emotional person looking to go on a tantrum, based on misinformation they've received regarding what is going on as related to that conflict between Israel and Hamas, and not really thinking critically about how that is going to impact foundational Black Americans. Because when it comes to this whole political cause, this is not our political fight, but this black woman believed that it was her fight. And sadly, as she believed it was her fight, now she's got to deal with the possibility of the Montclair police doing their investigation, because now they've got her TikTok handle, and as related to that TikTok handle, what's going to happen is they're going to get her personal information as related to that account, and they were going to get that information. Either they're going to get it from the ISP or they're going to get it from the cell phone provider, and basically find this woman and arrest her, and again find her and arrest her for participating in not a political protest but an act of just complete stupidity. Again, an act of complete stupidity, because this woman again knew or was corrected by the owners of the restaurant that this was not the Israeli flag, and that this was not a Israeli restaurant but a Greek restaurant. But she still went out here and again willfully and intentionally put this video up, all to get likes and make herself go viral. But the way she's making herself go viral basically shows us that this woman really is not a very intelligent person at all. No, she's basically caught up in her feelings and caught up in trying to get likes and views at the expense of more important intangibles such as her dignity and her self-respect and even her freedom. And what's sad is that because this woman is looking for short-term gratification, she can't see how this whole video basically is going to impact her in the long term, because this entire video that she's presenting basically is an act of hate, one. Two, if people find out who this woman is, she's basically going to wind up being blacklisted as related to her professional and career, because no employer is going to want to hire this woman, not because she's an activist, but because, one, she is a very ignorant person who does not go out here and do her research on basic geography. Two, she doesn't go out here and do her research on political causes to see how they basically are impacting her as a black person. And three, doesn't go out here and do her research to find out what really is going on as related to these political causes. Again, if you're going to be a so-called activist and you're going to be advocating for people, then you need to go out here and find the proper information regarding whatever you're fighting against. And this woman did not go out here and make that effort. And because she didn't make that effort, she basically embarrassed herself as related to this whole incident, an act of hate. Moreover, as she participated in this act of hate, she wound up destroying her professional reputation as an activist, destroyed her personal reputation, because now everybody sees her not as a person looking to advocate for Palestine, but as basically a bigoted individual who's looking to go out here and participate in this act of protest, again, for people who don't even know or care about her. That's what's really the troubling thing for me as a foundational black American man. You've got a black woman fighting for a political cause for people who don't even know anything about her as a black person or care about her as a black person, and again, would not go out here and fight for foundational black Americans at all, but she's going to go out here and advocate for people who aren't advocating for her. And that's the most backwards thing about this whole situation, watching this woman go out here and again protest as related to this whole situation. Not only does she show that she's poorly educated, because when it comes to geography, this is something that we all learn when we're very young, and it's reinforced in high school when we take classes like global studies, because I know when I was in junior high school and I learned about those flags, and even before that in elementary school I learned about the different flags of different countries, and I couldn't mix up Israel and the Greek flag, because the Greek flag is a completely different pattern. Moreover, when it came to the Israeli flag, it had the Star of David in the center, so I know the difference between the Israeli flag and the Greek flag. And while they have different colors, have similar colors, they are of different nations, the same way that the US, France, and Russia, and the UK and Britain have the same colors in their flag of red, white, and blue, but they have completely different patterns. And because they have completely different patterns, those flags basically are completely different flags. and completely different flags as related to what nations they represent. I mean, this is something that, again, you would learn in a basic geography class, but it seems like this girl, again, didn't go to pay attention in school, and just shows us how much of a failure our school system is, that this woman, again, goes out here running on her emotions, running to go out here and protest for Palestine, but doesn't even know the difference between an Israeli or a Greek flag. And that really, again, not only reflects on the failure of our school system, but just shows how sadly ignorance is being part of a culture and how that's evolving into stupidity. Because again, in my opinion, it's just stupid that, again, after you get corrected by the owners of a restaurant, again, months later, you're posting up video on TikTok of this whole incident that basically shows that you're participating in an act of hate. And again, while people see it as just her being ignorant, I see it as really, again, a sad case of a woman who doesn't really understand what she's doing. Because ironically, while she's out here making the protest about Israel, she's participating in the same type of hate-filled behavior. And again, doing this because she's basically running on emotion and not critically thinking about what she's doing as related to her behavior. And that's not the sign of an activist. That's the sign of somebody acting up. And that's the sad image that's being presented here of black women, that basically tarnishes all black women as a collective, because this woman's behavior, again, reflects just as badly as Pookie does on black men. I mean, this woman's behavior, again, makes it really look bad, because it basically reinforces old stereotypes about, they saying, black women not being intelligent and not being able to do things outside of their emotions. I mean, this whole incident, again, is a complete embarrassment to black women as a collective, and really, again, is a real, again, tarnish mark, again, that makes the black women look bad. And again, just sitting here, you're out here, again, being an activist, advocating for people, but nobody's looking to advocate for black people. I mean, I have to ask the critical question of this black woman who participated in this debacle of an incident. I mean, would this woman go this hard for foundational black Americans looking to get tangibles for their vote? I mean, I have to wonder, would this black woman go out here and fight as hard for black people getting reparations the way she's fighting for Palestine? That's the critical question I've got to ask, because whenever I see somebody like this fighting hard for somebody else's cause, it just makes me do a side eye, because this person basically doesn't understand the big picture as related to the subtle politics transpiring around them. And what's really sad here, as well, she's tearing down flags. She can't see how all the people she's fighting for are fighting against black people. And that's what's really sad about this activist, who's out here looking to march, protest, shuck and jive for somebody else. But I wonder if she'd have that same passion and tenacity to go out here and fight for foundational black Americans. That's the question I ponder as I watch this very just sad incident that basically, again, is an embarrassment to the overall black community, that you have a black woman fighting to advocate for political causes for other nations, but won't go out here and possibly show that same drive for black people here in America. I mean, that's the whole thing that makes me just shake my head about this situation. Makes me shake my head, because she's fighting for free Palestine, but possibly wouldn't even lift a finger for black empowerment. Now, if you want to learn and identify the dysfunctional behavior of women like this, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to learn why women like this basically are going to have a hard time having relationships, you can pick up my other book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com. In paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos like this, taking incidents like this to the barbecue, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, PayPal, or Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, ISIS, Imitation of Life. The Goddess Next Door helps a young black girl overcome racism during the era of Jim Crow in this Golden Age ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, Imitation of Life in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.